I used to think the word hate was reserved for things like soggy bread, slow Wi-Fi, or waking up 5 minutes before your alarm. But then my sister came along and she didn't just bring chaos. She delivered it, gift-wrapped and signed by destiny. Now, before you throw rotten tomatoes at me, hear me out. I don't hate her, I hate what life became because of everything surrounding her. She's severely autistic, and since the day she was born, it's like my existence was erased from my parents' radar. I was 6 at the time, bright-eyed, excited to step into my new role as a big sister. Little did I know, that role came with 0 benefits and all the overtime. The shift in our household dynamic was as subtle as a slap. Suddenly, my room was no longer my room. I was exiled to the basement because she needed to be closer to mom and dad. Apparently, out of sight, out of mind was not just a phrase, it became my reality. The basement was not some cute, finished hangout spot either. No, it was damp, cold, and home to about 47 varieties of spiders. I missed the comfort of hearing my parents' voices down the hall. Instead, I heard the scurrying of mystery creatures and the whisper of childhood slipping away. Upstairs was laughter, warmth, and noise. Downstairs, silence, and not the good, meditative kind. Then came the casualties. Toys I would treasured were routinely sacrificed to her curiosity. She was not malicious, she just did not know better. But every Barbie missing an arm and every crayon-mutilated book stung. I tried explaining it to my parents. You know, like a rational person seeking justice for fallen action figures. But instead of sympathy, I got, "She doesn't understand," and "You're the big sister." It was the emotional equivalent of being patted on the head while someone sets fire to your Lego collection. Then came the great MacBook tragedy. I had earned that laptop through hard work, acing classes like some overachieving sitcom character. One day, it was in pieces, and not in a cool, taken apart to learn how it works way. No more like a tech crime scene. My school blamed me for being careless. My parents did too. Apparently, Sherlock Holmes wasn't available to investigate the fact that I wasn't the one with peanut butter fingers and a fascination for smashing screens. I did not even cry about the laptop. I cried because no one had my back, because I felt invisible again. Being a sister to someone with such intense needs isn't like babysitting. It's like being cast in a full-time role for a job you never applied for, didn't get paid for, and couldn't quit. I could not even remember the last time I hung out with friends without checking my phone every 2 minutes, terrified I would miss some family emergency. My life was on pause, always, constantly waiting for the next alarm bell. So one day, I made a tiny rebellious decision. I turned off my phone to go watch the new Spider-Man movie. I know, scandalous. It was supposed to be 2 hours of web-slinging joy and 0 responsibility. But when I turned my phone back on, I was met with 36 missed calls, a guilt trip opera, and an emotional firing squad from my parents. Apparently, my small attempt at freedom had sparked World War II. Their rage was not just loud, it was thunderous. My dad scolded me like I would abandon a toddler on a highway. My mom piled on, grounding me like I was 12 instead of 18. I tried to explain I just needed a break, just 2 hours of pretending I wasn't the backup caregiver to a situation I did not create. But, surprise, no one cared. It was not about the movie. It never was. That night I sat in my room, grounded not for disobedience, but for existing as a human being who occasionally wants to watch a fictional superhero fight crime. I realized I was not a daughter anymore. I was a system, a cog, a fill-in nurse with a biology grade. Even when I did something right like the speech I was selected to give at school, it did not matter. I worked on that thing like it was a TED talk. I rehearsed until my voice was dry and my confidence grew wings. My parents said they'd come. They did not. My sister had a situation, again. And guess what? Everyone clapped when I finished. But I did not hear any of it. I was too busy staring at 2 empty seats in the audience that meant everything to me. I cried the whole walk home, not because they missed the speech, but because I missed having parents who noticed me. Later, while talking to my dad about college, things briefly felt normal. We laughed, looked at brochures, and I allowed myself to dream about a life beyond this. But then he cracked a joke. Pick something high-paying, so you'll be set to take care of your sister when we are gone. Cue the emotional detonation. I exploded. Years of swallowed feelings erupted. I cried, I yelled, and I'd beg them to see me not just as a built-in backup plan, but as a person. A teen with goals that didn't involve therapy schedules or managing meltdowns. But my words landed like paper planes in a hurricane. They just stood there, silent, empty. That night, I locked myself in my room and stayed there for hours, then a whole day. Not a knock, not a "how are you?" It was like my meltdown had been muted. I felt lonelier than I thought possible. I wasn't even angry anymore, I was just tired. So, I made a move. Literally, I texted Grandpa, "Can I come stay?" His reply, "Doors open." No lecture, no guilt, just quiet acceptance, and maybe a pinch of rebellion. Living with Grandpa was like stepping into another dimension, one where adults actually ask how you're doing. He did not smother me with sympathy or weird, motivational quotes. He just listened, told me stories about when he was my age. He cooked breakfast, let me choose what to watch on TV. Honestly, it was like discovering what normal felt like. I told him everything about my parents, about my sister, about how I had basically become a live-in caregiver. His reaction? Let's just say he was not chill about it. He was furious. Turns out, my parents had been telling the rest of the family that they had hired professional help for my sister, and that they were even taking money from relatives for it. Except plot twist, there was no caregiver. Grandpa immediately rallied the troops. My aunts and uncles showed up like an emotional support SWAT team. They checked in, brought food, and were generally shocked that my parents had lied to them. They all agreed on one thing: I wasn't going back there. The final conversation with my parents? Disaster. My dad said, "Brace yourself that I was born to take care of my sister." Like my whole identity was designated caretaker. No apology, no accountability. Just cold detachment and disappointment that I dared to break the mold. I walked out of that conversation more certain than ever I wasn't going back. With Grandpa's help and Uncle, "Let's get your birth certificate," in tow, I moved out officially. Packed my stuff, signed off on childhood, and reclaimed my life. My mom watched us pack. My dad bailed with my sister. But right before we left, my mom cracked. She said she loved me, that she'd miss me. After everything, I didn't know if I could believe her. But I wanted to. Now I'm here in my new room. Not a prison, not a basement, a real room. Mine. And it's not just about the furniture, it's about the freedom. The best part, my aunt said she's going to send the money she used to give my dad for my sister's care to me now. It's my college fund. Suddenly, the idea of college does not feel like a trap. It feels like a launch pad. I'm leaving the state after graduation. New life, new city. One where I get to be something other than a walking safety net. Have I lost my parents in the process? Maybe. That realization cuts deep. I'll always wish things could have been different. But here's the truth. I don't hate my sister. I never did. I hate the way my parents turned my love for her into an unpaid job. A sacrifice they never asked me about but always expected me to make. She did not choose this. I didn't either. But now, for the first time in forever, I'm choosing me. And that feels like freedom. And that's my story. Got thoughts, stories, or epic sibling drama of your own? Drop it in the comments. I read everything. If this video made you think, feel, cry a little, or even laugh once, go ahead and smash that like and subscribe. Thanks for watching, thanks for listening, and most of all, thanks for seeing me.